Hello and welcome to Fifth and Grace. Today we're going to have a little look at Tweedleding-Dong, Harry, Windsor, Wales, Mountbatten, Spencer, Sussex, whatever the heck his name is these days. We just know him as Harry or H. And I've got a few decks on the table. We're going to start with What's the Tea, which is a little oracle deck. I felt like it would be a good little start. I have Madhouse Tarot as well. And I still have not yet taken all the psychology bits to create a little cheat sheet. So I'm sure you'll give me some grace that I'm going to use the book for the psychology parts. And of course, we have our true crime tarot. Let's just see what's going on. Let's just have a little peek. And woo, our tokens. So yeah, we are ready to go. I did give the deck a good shuffle, but I know you all like to see me shuffle. So I have to fill the time with some chitty chat. And the last time I did a video like this, I think it was the Sentabali video. I can't remember. Or was it the Lily and Jack video? Goodness, I can't remember. Somebody commented and asked if I know who Alicia Wicker is, because I read just like her. And that I took as a massive compliment. Alicia is, in fact, the only reader I follow and watch. I don't really have any interest in any other readers. The exception being sometimes a reader will come to me and show me a video and just ask for my feedback, like, you know, how did they do? Which I'm always happy to do, unless you're a jerk, and then I won't. And then I'll just delete your message. But yeah, there's Alicia. Even though I did go to a huge international tarot academy and have been taught by one of the top psychics and readers in the world. See, look at this. I can't even shuffle these cards. We didn't really cover true crime because that academy sort of focuses on really like healing and coaching through tarot and a very specific way of reading. And what it didn't do was teach how to read for crime and missing people and detectives and stuff like that. So when I saw that Alicia, who I had been following for a while, had a workshop, I took her workshop. I've actually taken a couple of her workshops now. So when I read things like this, investigative, true crime, celebrity scandal, stuff like that, when I read those types of readings, I read the way Alicia has taught, which is why we met. So I took that as a massive compliment, and I profusely thanked the person. I can't remember who it was that said it, but if it was you, thank you again for that. And well spotted. Good eye to recognize the similarities between me and Alicia Wicker on this, though. I don't necessarily use that style for other kinds of readings, but certainly for this sort of thing. So we're just going to pull a few cards. This is the What's the Tea deck. It's gossip. So we'll see what's on the table. It's just a light, fluffy start. Bad karma. Yeah. No shiz. No shiz. Yeah. Bad karma. There we go. We all know what that said. Let's not get in trouble with YouTube, eh? Let's not get in trouble with YouTube. Oh, here I have this little guy here. Okay. We all know what that said, right? We all know what rhymes with block. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, you know who does that? Meghan Markle. Because we are talking about Harry here. We all know the way that, like, when he's talking to anybody, she is always dragging him away. Like, literally takes him by the hand and drags him, like, pulls him away. Or gives him that hand on the back to let him know that's enough. That's enough, young man. And you can really see that level of control. And the hand, I've even seen her push his hand down. Do you know what I mean? Like, behave yourself, right? Like, you're getting too much attention. So yeah, that would, yeah, definitely seeing a lot of that. Don't we think it's interesting how quiet Harry's been this week? And I know, who was it that came first out of the gate to say he was in the hospital of some kind? Was it You know, I'm not even going to try to guess who it was because I don't want to annoy anybody. I don't want anyone to come and say, that wasn't that person, it was me. So if it was you, feel free to chime in and say, oh, that was me. But there was a post went out earlier this week talking about how he was like in rehab or hospital or something. Nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me. Spiritual hater. Hates on your spirituality, light, magic, and power. Oh. There has been a lot of talk lately about Megan being a witch. And I just want to sort of address the whole witch things. There are many witches, myself included. And witches are not evil. They are people who, first of all, witchcraft is a European religion, a very, very old European religion. And it was a religion based on honoring and following the cycles of the earth, which is why so many witches are into trees and walking barefoot in the forest and herbs and crystals and, you know, that sort of tangible, earthy vibrational stuff. And so I know there's this like sort of idea out there that witches are evil. We're out here doing black magic and stuff. No, no. It's so, I just find it so hilarious because I'm like, you know, y'all think I'm some evil witch, yet here I am. I'm just like stirring intentions into my coffee and kissing my dog on the nose. You know what I mean? Like it's just not maybe what you think it is. Are there people who do evil things and use that sort of spirituality to do that? Absolutely. We call them Satanists. And Satanists and witches are not the same thing. There are some witches out there who are dark, but they're so rare. And the level of energy it takes to produce that kind of power, to be able to cast a very dark spell, it really takes a lot of energy. You have to be really, really good. So your average mom with a minivan sitting at home with crystals, she's not casting evil spells. She doesn't know how. She doesn't have the power. And he, because there's guys out there doing the same thing. But yeah, witchcraft and witches, we just tend to be very into nature and energy and magic. And, you know, I always say like a witch doesn't change the situation. A witch will change the energy around a situation that, you know, while we stir our intentions into our coffee, like it's just not, you know, yeah. Anyway, do I think that there's something dark and evil going on in Montecito? Yes, I do. And this is a great card to show that. I would say, and I hope nobody gets offended by this, but because I don't know any sort of polite, politically correct way to say it, but she may be like more into voodoo than actual magic or spirituality or anything like that. The whole Hollywood thing, the whole like LA thing, it is very dark. It is very bad. Those fires at the start of the year, I think they serve their purpose. There may be things that can no longer be found or located or entered into now. So that means they can't be used in court cases as evidence of anything, if that makes sense. I'm going to tread carefully on this one. But yeah, when we see a lot of celebrities and the clue is they do that thing where they cover one eye. And that is, well, you can Google that. You can Google that, the Eye of Horus. And there's a reason why a lot of people wear an evil eye charm to sort of ward all these things off. But definitely in that part of the world, there's a lot of darkness, a lot of Satanism, a lot of evil. There's a lot of, and the thing about Satanists is apparently I discovered while eating dinner one night at someone else's house, they were having a dinner party, and the guy at the end of the table just blurted out, "I'm a Satanist." And I was like, what? Why? You know what I mean? So everybody's in stunned silence. And I said, why did you feel you needed to blurt that out right now at dinner? And just out of curiosity. And he said, because we have to tell you. Like, that's the rule, is they have to tell you. And so when you see all these things, like, they're telling you what they're up to. They're showing you what they're up to. And so maybe pay closer attention to Megan and see if you're seeing any signs. But yeah, I would say we're you know, she's not a witch. Let's start there. She's not a witch. And I know people say her mother is too. I don't think she is either. And I don't think she's her mother either. I think the whole Markle story is perhaps, there's a great chance it's a work of fiction. But definitely, I would say if she's into anything dark, it would be more along the lines of voodoo, things like that. So yeah, we'll all start keeping our eye out for signs of that. Absolutely. Photo proof, getting evidence. Oh, you know what just popped in is she has photos of him in whatever state he was in if he went to this alleged hospital situation. There's photos that she's going to use later on. She's been, but also too, we know that they've mic'd themselves to record conversations when they've been with the royal family, things like that, because we've seen it, right? And I'm just going to pop in here, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. We're just having some fun here with pretty cards and telling stories. But I think that she's that kind of person who saves everything, gathers evidence on everything. Who else does that? And keeps everything. She probably has a safety deposit box with USBs and photos and everything. She has kept everything on everyone so that she can use it later. I believe she's going to use it in her divorce book because that's the one we all want to read, right? I admit I would probably pick that one up and read it just to see what she's got to say. Unbothered. Yeah, she's going through life thinking she's got it by the balls. And you know, she's trying to come off like she's unbothered, but you know, I think there's a lot of mental illness at play within that house. And that just this constant trying to get ahead of it, always trying to something new, let's distract them, you know what I mean? And we see people on YouTube doing that too. So, you know what I mean? The parallels are quite striking sometimes. You know, I'm just in my garden picking strawberries. Look at how unbothered I am. Well, anyone can fake unbothered for 3 minutes to film a video, you know? So, I think that's the vibe she's trying to put off, is that she is unbothered, but she's very bothered, just like someone else we know, just like someone else moving. Yeah, I think there's I mean, obviously we know this isn't sustainable. They don't have any money. They're, you know, things are running out for them. So there we go. There's a first little peek. First tiny little peek. So let's just pull a few cards. We're going to do it. You know what? These decks are sometimes deck. Get your mind out the gutter. I have decks that are so luxurious that I almost can't shuffle them because they're so slippy. And this is a little bit slippy. This isn't quite the whatever my true crime one is. I can't remember what it's called, but this one's pretty slippy too. But look at how gorgeous I don't know if you can see. Look at that. How pretty is that? Yeah. So this is the Madhouse Tarot, and it's sort of all the card descriptions are it's a really extensive book actually. But they do have psychological ones. So that's what we're actually going to be looking at. We're not going to do a spread. We're just going to pull cards and look at the psychology behind them. So there we go. Oh, that was a little bit of vocal fry I threw there in the end. Not that I love vocal fry, but occasionally when we're being very serious, it sometimes comes in, doesn't it? Okay, so we're not going to do reversals because that's just not my jam. 3 of coins. Isn't that interesting? So I am just letting you know, I have never used this deck on my channel till today. So these are all beautiful photos or beautiful pictures and artwork. What do we have here? You know what I need to do is label this. because I need to put like a little post-it at the start of each suit. So the psychology of the Three of Coins. Oh my goodness. Mental state, obsession, boredom, pickiness, perfection, mania for cleanliness, or if you're Teresa Giudice, whatever her name is, cleansiness. I always love that. I actually say cleansiness now, all those years later, after hearing her say it. So, mania for cleansiness and order, and bacillophobia. Bacillophobia. What's bacillophobia? I'm going to have to look that word up. Okay, I'm going to look it up and I'll put the definition in the description. Bacillophobia. What in the heck is that? I'd look it up on my phone, but you're watching it right now. Wow. Bacillophobia. Okay. Interesting. Well, that's kind of wild. Okay, so let's pull another one. Six of Wands. So our Six of Wands would normally be about persevering. Sixes are always like, just keep swimming. So let's just see what we have here. Okay, mental state. Selfishness, self-centeredness, obsession with small-scale greatness, self-indulgence, and enervation. I'll put the definition of enervation as well, because I don't know what that means either. These are all new words for me. Look, we're going to learn so much with this reading. We're going to educate ourselves here. Wow. So selfishness, self-centered, obsession with small-scale greatness. That could be a few people, eh? That could be a few people. All right, and we have the Ace of Coins. Interesting. These are like, I thought we'd see more major arcana right out of the gate. The Ace of Coins, the mental state, genius, ideas, out of touch with reality. Oh my goodness. Yeah, because they have been out of touch with reality for quite a while now. Quite a while. But also, too, if he has experienced a mental health crisis of some kind, that would be part of it. That would absolutely be part of it. Page of Swords. Page of Swords. While you're waiting for me to do this, like, feel free to comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from, because I'm always curious. Mental state, perfectionism, excellent students complex, suspicion, paranoia, manipulation. That's more Megan. That is absolutely more Megan. The paranoia, the excellent students complex. Like, that's her to a T, isn't it? Interesting. Interesting. I'm just going to put these over here. And then what do we have? Four of Swords. And this is just fascinating that we just, because I thought we would actually get some major arcana. I thought we'd get, sorry, I was like trying to find the page. All right, I definitely need to make a cheat sheet. That's going to be my little project this weekend if we're going to use this deck. So, the mental state, catalepsy. Oh my gosh. There's so many words. I don't know. I'm going to have to look them all up. Catalepsy, somnambulism, lethargy, apathy, visions. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of pointing towards there maybe has been a mental health crisis of some kind, and perhaps he's been sectioned for a little rest. I don't know, but I definitely think she's got photos of him in a disastrous state, so that's not cool. The Hanged Man. Oh yeah, if this is hairy for sure. For sure. Let me find it here. Yeah, sorry everybody. I am totally going to be getting these little notes into a cheat sheet. Mental state. Where are we here? Oh my gosh. Alcohol, alcohol, substance, drug, or emotional addiction, a victim complex. Oh my goodness. Inclination to asceticism and, oh, martyrdom. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. Fanaticism, shamanic disease, pseudo and true hallucinations, wrong beliefs, illusions, a meditative mode of thinking, a very strong intuition, prophetical visions. Yeah, I think this man is in a psych unit or is being treated in some fashion. He could be, I don't necessarily think he's in the hospital, but maybe in a private mental clinic of some kind for some rest. Yeah. Well, that's kind of wild. That's kind of wild. There we go. Holy smokers. I didn't think we were going to get that deep, to be honest. All right. And then we are going to, you know what? Let's have a quick peek at these. We'll pull a couple cards from each one, and then we will get my working tarot out, and we'll do a spread and just see what comes up there. Again, this is the 4,000 card deck, so I have to shuffle it in 3 sections, or 4 sections, sorry. Otherwise, it's about 6 inches tall or something like that. So we'll just get them all prepped. So what do you think? Do you think he's in like a mental psychiatric unit right now? Do you think it's weird that it seems like it's been very quiet? And you know, it's just left so much room for so much other drama. Like, it's just so bizarre. So bizarre. And then we've had news about Princess Catherine not being so great. I didn't realize she was as close to death as we recently found out. I didn't realize it was that dire. But I don't think it was the cancer that had her close to death. I think it was the medical condition that had her hospitalized and having surgery, and then they discovered the cancer while they were there. So I think there was like multiple things going on. And I try to leave that in the shot. There we go. So yeah, I don't know, but it just, I feel like I just get the sense that something has come to a head. You know, that something has cracked and there's kind of no going back from it. I just don't know what that is, but it's just the sense I get that oh my gosh, life is not going to be the same for these people after this week. And that could be in a minor way or a major way. It just feels very strange. Especially like, I don't know if like, the sense I get of him is it's a bit manic, right? Like he's out there trying to get his uncle to let him change his name to Spencer, and like every day it's just a new thing, and it almost seems like he's being consumed by his thoughts. And I can imagine that his life out there, if he is actually in the home in Montecito, I can imagine it's quite boring for him. Like, you know, they don't have friends, they don't really have much to do. He's kind of useless. Like, he's not really like smart enough to come up with things to do. And I think he just does what she tells him to do, and the rest of the time he just walks around with his hands in his pockets. And, you know, that sort of, like, as a minister, I go to a lot of weddings, and when I arrive, I always 30 minutes early, and there's always somebody's dad who has nothing to do. Well, because all the girls are getting ready in their hair and their makeup, and he's been ushered out the door, like, you know, just go outside and hang out. And so he's walking around with his hands in his pockets, just looking for anybody, you know, because he's never been alone in 50 years. And now he's walking around, you know, with his hands in his pockets, looking for someone to talk to. That's how I imagine Harry right now, is that he's just got nothing to do. So he's just walking around with his hands in his pockets. And that has probably contributed to his mental state, because people who are like him and like many other people really should not be left with nothing to do. We need things to do. That's why I knit. I knit like a fiend, because I need something to do. I have CPTSD. And if I don't, like, even if I'm just sitting watching YouTube videos or watching a show on Netflix or something, I have to be knitting or doing something, working on a little project. Like I made bookmarks for the Legion, the other day. So I sat and cut all those out while watching something, because otherwise I can like literally feel the vibration from my root chakra like moving right up through my body, and then I get very fidgety and I have to get up and move around. So that's why I knit, just to kind of expel energy and have something to do. Project Bluebeam, Rumours, like the song, Microchip. See, I think she's got everything on a flash drive, hard drive, something. I think she's got multiple copies of everything, like so many of us do. And she's probably got them locked up in a variety of different places. Top secret, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Isn't it interesting? Premeditated. Absolutely. I do believe that all of this was arranged. I don't think this is a love match. This is not a situation where people fell in love, fell in love. No, I think that they are... Did you ever see that show, The Americans, about the Russian spies in the 80s? And they were matched together as spies to come to America. Well, I think this is kind of the same thing, just not spies, but something else. We all know what it is. They can't talk about censoring the internet in the way they do without us realizing this is about fundamental American rights. I know everyone in Canada talks about free speech. We don't have that in Canada, by the way. We don't have free speech. We don't have compelled speech just yet, but we don't have free speech. We have freedom of expression. And there are rules around that as well. I think, you know what I did? I picked this up and shuffled it. And I had already shuffled it. Counterfeit. Our counterfeit Contessa. Control. Yeah. Honest politician. That's interesting. Okay, there's some stuff swirling. There's some stuff swirling. Motel, hotel. Oh. Because the governor of California is like so connected and involved in all this craziness and evil and Satanism and everything going on in LA and Hollywood and everything else. Like, I mean, I'm not saying he's a part of it, but he's well connected to it, right? I feel like, so when we're talking about an honest politician, it's not necessarily about, oh, this person is honest, but this person is being perceived to be honest. And I'm not saying that those of us who are wide awake and see all of it believe that, but there are people who do. So somebody like Meghan Markle would want people to believe that the governor of California is the most wonderful, honest man in the world, because he's part of her little scheme. So there's a reason they live in California, right? And not in a red state. So there you go. And white collar crime. Interesting. Oh, and I think the motel hotel thing, sort of what I'm being shown is that the big moment where it all kind of came crashing down probably took place in a hotel or a motel, and that's why these photographs would be so incredibly valuable to anybody who was interested in what was going on. Oh, royalty, really? Riots and protests? Yeah, well, yeah. When you basically set out to destroy a country, that's what's going to happen. It's all a distraction. Yes. So every time she puts out a jam, you need to ask yourself, what is she distracting us from? Why does she want us to look at this? And what does she not want us to look at? And that's the same for governments. That's the same for all these world leaders. When, when they're like, oh, I remember back, years ago, like in the 80s or 90s, whenever things were going sideways in Ontario, the government would release a new beer. And I remember, was it Doug Ford or was it somebody else? I can't remember which premier it was, but it was the whole buck of beer thing, $1 for a bottle of beer. So it was a buck of beer. That's what everybody got into, sports and bread and wine and all that, distracting us from what the government's up to. So, they were like, here, have beer for $1. So this is that same kind of thing where it's like, they don't want us looking at what they're really up to. So they're doing things like buying awards so they can get dressed up and go to fake award ceremonies, and, putting out jam. And is there a wine coming? Like, I don't know. It's like, this is why I don't read on these people very often, because there's just so much. I could be reading on these people every single day, and then my channel would become, the Meghan and Harry channel. And that's just not what I want. So I try to make it like once a month, unless there's like something urgent. But yeah, they're definitely distracting us from something. And I think if you haven't watched The Royal Grift, go watch that channel and get yourself up to speed on what's been going on and all of her research and investigation. Brilliant mind. And yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens with all that information. A rope. Yeah, there's so many different things that this could be, but I really think it's more like he's at the end of his rope. And yeah, lies. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna keep these two, and we'll pull some tokens for them. So we'll just stick them to the side for now. And then we've got cyber crime. Well, they're always talking about free speech should be illegal. They want everything censored. This is the whole thing. They make her a victim by having everyone attack her. And I bet that they've paid people to go on campaigns to attack her so they can say, see what I'm talking about, right? A River. Well, this could be River, the YouTuber. I love him. I think he's just absolutely wonderful. I love that he is so authentically, unabashedly who he wants to be in whatever moment he's in. And I also love that even for all that he is, besides just a human being, but, he calls his fans his fruity basketeers. So I don't know, like they're all, I would call them fruit flies. But he's gay. He's does a little bit of drag. It's very camp. But he's also not falling for the woke nonsense. Like, he's wide awake and he doesn't like it. Like all this, the ideology and everything else. No, he just lives his life, and that's why we love him. I don't know if this is about him or not, but the topic came up. All right, let's keep going. False person. That would take us back to the Markle story, like all the Markles. I think they're all just playing characters. I don't necessarily believe that they are actually who they say they are. There's a lot of people out there who play characters, and then they kill off the character, and then that actor will come back as a new character. Look at people. Okay, my favorite one, my very, 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 very favorite one is that Jim Morrison became Rush Limbaugh. And if you're sitting here being like, what? Google a picture of fat Jim Morrison and hold it up against a picture of Rush Limbaugh and tell me what you think. And when you do that, come back and tell me, and we can talk about Jim Morrison. I might actually do a video of all my favorite conspiracy theories. If you think that would be fun, let me know. It's nothing to do with tarot or spirituality, but I think it's fun. Health risk. Yeah, well, if he keeps doing what he's doing, terrorism. Yeah, this is the thing, is they are so involved in all of this woke ideology that there has to be like the terrorists that are going, like anybody who's sitting there going, I stand with Hamas. Well, you are a terrorist now, and you should be labeled one, and you should be on a list somewhere. I certainly don't stand with Hamas, but there are people who do. Now, there are people, very, very innocent people, who are getting caught in the crossfire of all these silly little things going on around the world. And I'm not saying the events are silly, but the reasons for them are really, really ridiculous sometimes. So, it's one thing to say, I stand with the people who are being innocent bystanders, but to actually stand with the terrorists, just don't do that, okay? But it's this left woke ideology that is driving all of this. I mean, I saw people, I posted on my Facebook, on my personal Facebook, that it would be 3 days and people would be changing their profile pictures to the Iran flag. And sure enough, they did. Now everybody's out there. I should get into the flag business, really, is what it boils down to. But there's definitely connections there. And I'm not saying they're driving it or that they're deeply involved, but it's all very interconnected. When you look at the big web of all of it, it's all very interconnected. Again, go back to TRG, the Royal Grift, check her thing out. She's got charts and the whole web, it's all mapped out of all the connections to everything. I hope she's getting paid well for her work. Absolutely, because it is phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. So there's those cards. I actually just want to go a tiny little bit deeper here. And we've got our little tokens, which I love so much. Actually, I'll put it out of here. Got my chart here, because see, I did actually make cheat sheets for all of these. So perception, awareness, spiritual perception. Gosh, is she going to put out a line of Bibles or something? Is she going to start? Oh God, she's going to make a meditation and yoga channel or something. Oh God, wouldn't it be funny if that came true? 48. 48 is the scissors. Something needs to be cut out. Yes, them, their behaviors, their nonsense. Cut it out, please. Please, please, please. 126 is it's an astro. That is Capricorn. I use. What do you use, Harry? What are you using, my friend? But you're not using it in the psych unit right now, are you? Yeah, what do you use? Isn't that an interesting word? Isn't that an interesting word to pop out there? 84 is the film clacker. Take action, begin. But also, too, let's not forget, it's all actors and actresses playing these roles. Like Rachel plays the role of Meghan Markle. But wasn't that, on Suits, wasn't her name Rachel? Wasn't the character's name Rachel? Isn't that interesting? It's all just very bizarre, isn't it? But yeah, this is her playing a role every single minute of the day. And he has to play the role too. Like he can't get around it. He's in it so deep now. There's no escaping for him. Unless he just gets up and leaves and eats the crow and says to the world, I got it wrong. I've left now. I'm on the run. I'm hiding. I'm trying to find a safe place to land, right? And then we have the White Rabbit, new adventure, new information, and road to enlightenment. Maybe this is going to be the turning point for him, because once he gets his head cleared, he might actually have the fortitude to get out of this. Okay, and royalty. Royalty. Let's have a wee peek here. And then we'll get the tarot out. 99. Be happy, speak your truth. Oh, she would tell you that she's just speaking her truth. Look, she goes on those podcasts and cries, her little dry tears. Wipes her dry tears away. 72 is theater masks. And it's inauthentic, dramatic behavior. Yeah, no kidding. Both of them. Sitting there like, oh, we're so sad. People say mean things about us. Yeah. People say mean things about everybody, so time to get over it. Time to grow up, pal. Time to grow up. 139, the trine. Harmonizing energy. Harmonizing energy. There's definitely this sort of old, like old buildings that, like churches and stuff that have the bells in them. All these buildings were actually designed to be a certain frequency. And you know, all the masters, all the old masters, like the Masons particularly, they'd be really quite into that sort of thing. They would know a lot about that. If you've not watched The Fall of Cabal, dive in, take it one bite at a time because it's a lot. But definitely, there's some ancient stuff going on there, some ancient energy stuff. Um, there, there are places in the world that have a different energetic frequency, and there's ley lines. If you don't, Ley, ley lines, Google it, and there's ley lines around the world, and there might actually, is it Glastonbury that there's a ley line through? Someone will know for sure. There's a place that is in England that is incredibly magical because its energy is different than everywhere else. So yeah, there we go. Maybe that's where he needs to go to heal and get his vibrations raised. Get his vibrations raised. Okay, so we're going to pull 9 cards. We're going to start with just sort of what's going on right now, the present theme and situation. I do have my little notebook here with all my dates in it. So if we feel called, we can pull up some dates. This is going to be a little long one. So pop your headphones on and do your laundry or do your dishes or go for a walk or something while you listen. Don't just sit there. All right. So the first card, present theme situation, is the completion of something financial, physical. Something's coming to an end. Absolutely. There's definitely something coming to an end. Isn't it interesting that there's 2 dogs there? I don't normally go by the imagery of cards because people go, oh, but the symbolism matters. No, it doesn't. Don't let people sell you courses on the symbolism of tarot unless you are only ever going to read from the same deck every single time. If you have multiple decks that you like to use, then the symbolism and the imagery is different every single time. So, but I just happened to notice there was 2 dogs there. The Magician for card number 2, which is the major past struggle, the desire to have it all, the desire to have it all, be it all, do it all. There's also a trickster energy. He was tricked, I believe. I don't think he had any clue the enormity of what he was getting himself into. And I think she, she worked her voodoo magic on him, and he got tricked because the dark side, the shadow side of the Magician is a trickster energy for sure. And then the pivotal future event that he'll have, he'll get stable. He'll achieve some stability. I feel like that this is all kind of unfolding right now. Let me just look up this card to see what the date is for the 4 of Pentacles, if there is a date. It's a January date, so it's maybe not something. I feel like he needs to get his physical self sorted out, like the drugs and alcohol and everything else, the depression. I'm sure he's dealing with a lot of mental health stuff. He's probably on a cocktail of medications and drugs and alcohol right now, and he needs to get straightened out. Being the coins, this is very much for me in my mind, like as I'm looking at this card, again, not really looking at the symbolism, but just knowing that this, like if we just look at it, we'll just pretend we're the kind of people who read symbolism in cards. Like this is very much about his physicality and external influences on his physicality. Okay, so that's how you could read that card. All I'd see this card as is we have stability at one end and stagnancy at the other, and we want him to get to the stable end so that he can get himself out of this situation. No idea what's going to happen after that, but maybe we'll find out. The overriding concern is so there's a couple things here that it's the money's not coming. He doesn't have a stable form of income, but also too, our 6s are always about perseverance, and the overriding concern is like, how can I keep going with no money coming in? So there we go on that one. And card number 5 is the emotional undercurrent. Really having to dig deep. This is going to take a lot of willpower if he's going to get out of this. He needs to tread carefully. Our strength card, depending on where we see it, say if I was using like a Celtic cross spread or something like that, I might be talking about how it is a gentle, powerful strength. Like when we look at this card, you know, she's not in a struggle with the lion. She's just got control of the lion through love. So I think that he needs to, well, he's obviously been gaslit by this narcissist telling him how much he's loved, and he knows he's not, which is why it's all falling apart. The moment that you realize everything's very confusing is the moment the charade is up. The jig is up. And so this is he's going to require a lot of gentle strength with himself to get himself out of this. The fear, the Page of Wands, the fear starting all over again with nothing, that he would actually have to learn how to live in the world as a regular person, because he just, this whole like, I'm a former royal, like it's just not working. He has to learn how to do something. He may have to actually take some courses and learn how to do something productive in life and not just be grifting around the world, because people have caught on. It's all starting to fall out. And I think that may be part of this mental health situation that he may allegedly, for entertainment purposes, be experiencing right now, which is why he's been so quiet, because he's in a psych unit or some sort of thing. There we go. The obsession. Judgment. I'm going to look up the date. I feel like this one just needs just some extra attention here. There's no date. Okay. No date here. But this is, this card actually comes up quite a bit for him as he gets more and more and more information and becomes more and more aware of things. Like he's seeing things with new eyes. I think after his time in whatever he's in, rehab, treatment, whatever, he will see it all with fresh eyes. This probably will cause more depression and more anxiety for him, because now he sees it and he can't get out. So it will take a team to get him out of this situation. This is also, you know, it's about waking up to a situation. It's about becoming aware of something in a relationship. The truth is coming out. This card came up a lot during lockdowns and all that stuff, because so much of it was just BS, really. And it was effery and shenanigans on the parts of all these governments. So people were really waking up to things during that time and continue to. So it's that same kind of energy that when it's like, he's just all of a sudden going to be like, wow, I can't do this anymore. This woman's crazy. And she's ruined me. And he can still recover. She never will, but he can still recover. And so yeah, that's the obsession is with this awakening. He could be going through a dark night of the soul, and then, which is almost always followed by a spiritual awakening. This was actually, we talked about this on someone's channel the other day. And that the dark night of the soul is that just that breaking point where you're on the bathroom floor crying. That's the worst, the lowest you're ever going to be. In certain circles, they might call it rock bottom. And in spiritual terms, we call it the dark night of the soul. And then that is meant to prompt a spiritual awakening. Wow. All right. Now we're the driving ambition, the Ace of Swords, new concepts, new ideas, new contracts, just a new thought process, a new way of life. Interesting. Yeah, I think he wants out, and it's become all consuming, and it's kind of broken him a little bit, more than she broke him. And the main obstacle, justice. Interesting. I'm gonna look and see if there is a timing on this card too. If maybe we're gonna see something. September 23rd to October 22nd. So that's Libra season. So we may hear some news in that time period. This is definitely letting us know that whatever he's doing, he's finding out truths. He's finding out where he's been betrayed by his wife. Not necessarily smoochy woo cheating, but that the lies. She betrayed everybody. She betrayed the family that took her in, tried to teach her. She betrayed everyone. She betrayed the queen. She betrayed the whole family. She betrayed Catherine. There's just so many lies being told. And that's all we know. We don't know all the other underhanded stuff. Like, was she behind all of that "where's Kate" nonsense last year while Kate was apparently almost dying? So yeah, there's a lot of betrayals, and he's waking up to it. I think he's starting to clear his head, and I think he's maybe this time locked up somewhere is going to be really helpful for him. And then, of course, this card always speaks to the truth of who we really are, and he may be having to kind of return to himself. A return to himself. That's what's coming. And my guides are like, just keep saying it, a return to himself. And hopefully a new way of life. So that is kind of what's standing in the way, really, is wanting out of this, wanting the truth, and he's not going to get it from a narcissist. You never will. You never will. So there you have it. There is our little peek at Harry, and obviously Meghan just can't keep out of it. I thought she might stay away this time, but no, her energy is really, really strong when it comes to him. Because, well, for obvious reasons, she has to have him or it all falls apart for her. Because then who is she? She's just Meghan Markle. She can't, once the divorce happens, she won't be the Duchess of Sussex anymore. So there you have it. I thank you so much for joining me for this long conversation about these two, Tweedledee and Tweedleding Dong. And don't forget to click subscribe. I'm so close to 1,000. And don't forget to share, click like, leave a comment, and let me know you were here. Let me know what you think. I know you will, because whenever I do a Harry and Meghan video, the comments are on fire. So there you have it. Thank you for joining me today. And as ever, have a magical day.